Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. Silent Dreams, Hidden Strength. Episode 2. Chapter 18. Rylance. I didn't want to leave Sierra, but the thought of going into that store felt uncomfortable. So I left to get the girls some food. I know Sierra is really tired and I know just how to take all the pain away. I went to a local pizza house and ordered the food. In 15 minutes the pizzas were handed over to me. I was making my way back when I saw a jewelry shop. A small ruby pendant caught my eye. The rubies were cut in heart shapes and were shining in the light. It would look beautiful on Sierra, Dom said in my head. Yet I replied. I quickly entered the store and told the man on the counter to pack the set. I told him to wrap it in a nice gift wrap. I took the box and hid it under my shirt. I will give it to Sierra when we reach home. I know she will like it. I reached the store, and saw Nina standing alone looking everywhere. Where is Sierra? Nina, where is Sierra? I asked. She said she is going to the restroom. But I guess she's taking her time. Nina said, but I don't have a good feeling about it. Let me just go and check. Nina said. I'll come with you. I'll stand outside. Okay, we made our way to the restroom and was immediately hit by the scent of blood. I saw blood on the floor and sensed Sierra's scent lingering in the air, along with a foul, pungent smell. Rogue. They took Sierra. Oh God! Why did I leave her side? It's all my fault. She doesn't know how to defend herself. If they even touch a single hair on her head, I will burn them alive. I snap out of the thoughts when I see Nina pick up something. It's a note. Nina reads it and starts sobbing. I snatch the note out of her hands and read it. My blood boils as I read it. How dare he? He took her. Because of what happened years ago, which had nothing to do with Sierra. He will pay. I'm coming to get you, Sierra, hang on. I mind-linked Nate to get the best warriors from the pack and meet me near the mall. I will find her and end this stupid chase once and for all. The note, I know you are probably looking for your mate now, so to ease your worries I left this note. I still remember that day 3 years ago, and I won't let you forget it too. You will suffer as much as I did. Best wishes, Adam. Chapter 19. Serena. I woke up with a heavy headache. I sat up and groaned. I looked around the unfamiliar surrounding and panicked. Where am I? Then I remembered the attack. Someone took me. They kidnapped me. But I don't think kidnappers keep their victims in such a beautiful room. The door opened and a lady, probably around 50s, came in with a warm smile. I don't know what to do, so I just kept a blank face. She came in with a tray and set it in front of me. I see you're up, dear. I'm Linda, I brought you some breakfast, you should eat, you're very weak. She said softly and patted my head before leaving. I heard the lock click and I knew the door was locked. I uncovered the tray. It contained pancakes, bacon, and eggs along with a small carton of milk. I didn't realize how hungry I was until I saw the food. I slowly ate the food and when I was full I kept the tray aside. Where am I? Who took me? And why? Oh God! Rylance. Where is he? Will he be looking for me now? I'm so confused. The door opened again and a man with blonde hair and brown hair came in. He had a small smile on his lips. Hi, I'm Chris. I'm assigned to take care of you. You want anything, you tell me. Okay. Chris said cheerfully. His nature reminded me of Nina, I just nodded in reply. Hey listen, I don't know why you are here, but whatever it is, you can't leave. Just cooperate, okay, then no one will hurt you. The boss is not bad, he said and gave a reassuring smile. But I miss Rylan and Nina. Tears start building in my eyes as I think about them. Hey, don't cry. I can't see a friend cry. That's my weak point, Chris said looking worried. I'm your friend. I asked confused. He is my kidnapper, he is not supposed to be my friend. Yet. It's my talent. I make friends really fast, he said and snapped his fingers. Okay, so, what's your name? He asked. I'm gonna be around, so I need to know your name. Serena, I said. And that's how I made a new friend. Rylan's. Nate and some of the best warriors from my pack arrived at the mall. They all were pissed, but at the same time determined. They are already protective of their Luna. Alpha, what is the plan? Nate said in a serious tone. We know the person who kidnapped Sierra. All we have to do is find where he is and bring my Sierra back. I growled. Who took our Luna, Alpha? A warrior asked. Adam. Growls were heard from every warrior. We leave in an hour. I have a vague idea where he could be. After all, he didn't forget what happened 3 years ago, I exclaimed. They all bowed their heads and left to prepare. That thick-head Adam. He just had to take her. Just when I found her and was started to become happy. I have to end this, for both of us. It's all my fault. If only I had not left her. If only I had gone with her, this would have never happened. Nina cried on my shoulder. I stroked her hair. It's not your fault, Nina. Don't blame yourself. It will be all right. I'll bring her back. In an hour we were all ready to bring my mate back. We all settled in 3 cars. The place was not far away. It is where the incident happened. Where Adam buried all his humanity and became a heartless beast. Where his mate died. Where he killed her. 3 years earlier. Adam was the alpha of the neighboring pack. Adam, Nate, and I were best friends. We did everything together, but then Adam found his mate when he turned 17. Quite early. He had a mate to take care of but still spent every Sunday with us. Little did he know his mate didn't love him. She was there with him because he was the alpha. I knew this the day he introduced us to Kayla. The way she looked at us, we understood she was up to no good. She always pretended to be blindly in love with him. Once Nate and I caught her red-handed with some filthy rogue. She didn't even deny it. But when we told all this to Adam, he didn't believe us. He broke our friendship. Kayla convinced him that we were jealous of him, that's why we are doing this. From friends we become rivals. He did everything he could to take us down. But I knew he was under her influence, so we only defended. Then the day came. He saw his mate with someone else. That someone. She was kissing him. It was me. I had to do it. For him to see who she really was. I had planned it all. I offered her the place as Luna. Which was much bigger than Adam's. I told her I loved her. But I was cautious. And I let her kiss me so Adam could see. She admitted all her dirty deed in front of him. And he was left heartbroken. He killed her. On the spot. I tried to explain to him why I did it, but he didn't listen. He thought I did it to ruin him, and he promised to make me feel the same. Present. He still thinks I did that to hurt him. He was my best friend. Why would I do that to him? I just wanted him to see the truth. We arrived. The manor. It was a mansion for the three of us. We received it from our parents when we were 10. We named it the manor. I was right, he was here. I walked in from the front door. I am not afraid. I went straight to Adam's office. He was casually sitting on his chair. He looked up and gave a small smile. It was not a cunning or evil smile. A genuine smile. Rylan. I was expecting you. Come sit, he said as if we were friends. After that day it was the third time Adam has done anything. The first 2 times being small attacks on my pack. Where is Serena, Adam? I don't have time for nonsense like this. I growled. I know you want to see your mate Rylan, and not here to waste time either. So please have a seat. He said, now serious. I sat across him and looked at him expectantly. He sighed. I want to know what happened. He said. I frowned. What? I want to know what happened to our friendship. Why did you do that to me, all those years ago? He said with sad eyes. I didn't do it willingly, Adam. You were my best friend. I would never do anything to hurt you. Nate and I caught her with a rouge and we came to tell you, but you didn't listen. You thought we were jealous of you. When she started doing it more, we wanted you out of her clutch, that's why we planned everything. I offered her the position of Luna in my pack. Of course it was not true. But she was convinced and then you saw us. It was all part of the plan. To help you see the truth. I explained. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I broke our friendship. I'm sorry I kidnapped your mate, but I wanted to know the truth. And I sent message to you but there were no replies, so I had to do this. He said. But why now? So suddenly? I asked. I found Kayla's diary in her box a week ago. It had everything in it. He said sadly. It's okay bro, I understand now how you felt. I found my mate a week back. I said and smiled. I know. I saw her. She's a gem. And don't worry, she is safe and resting now. We didn't do anything, just wanted to solve this problem and hopefully get my best friends back. He said. He had tears in his eyes. I stood up and hugged him. Forgot about me. Nate said from the doorway and tackled us. We laughed and I called off the attack. I want to see my mate now. Adam. Serena. I asked. Oh yeah. I assigned Chris to take care of her. I'll just call him, he said and took out his phone. What? Who is this Chris? And why is he with Sarah, alone? I exclaimed. Relax, he doesn't swing that way. He said and I looked at him confused. He sighed again. Chris is gay. He said. Oh, then a boy waltzed in the cabin and did a small salute. Hello boss friends. I'm Chris, but you can call me Chris. He said and did a wave. Where is my mate? I said straight to the point. Oh. She's sleeping. Come on, I'll take you to her. And he walked out with us following him. He led us to a room and opened it. It was a nice room. A normal room. I saw a small figure sprawled on the bed. Sarah. I was by her side in a flash. She was sleeping soundly. I brushed some hair that had fallen on her face and caressed her cheeks. She stirred and stretched like cat. She is so cute. I couldn't help but smile. Her eye flutter opened and landed on me. I smile when her eyes widened. Rylan. She asked as if I am a dream. I opened my arms and nodded. She flew in my arms and I chuckled. I missed you. She said I missed you too, baby, more than you can imagine. I replied and stroked her hair. She looked at me smiling and before I know she crashed her lips on mine. Chapter 20. Serena, I don't know why I did what I did. It just felt right to do. So I placed my lips on his. I don't know how to kiss, but have to try, isn't it? Rylan stood frozen. I am not sure it's a good thing or a bad thing. So I moved my lips a little, that seemed to bring him out of the daze, and he took control. He held my waist with one hand and pulled me closer, his other hand tangled itself in my hair. I moved my hands and wrapped them around his neck. He licked my bottom lip, then he squeezed my hips a little and I gasped. He took the chance and slipped his tongue in my mouth. He fought for dominance and eventually won. Soon I was out of breath, and in need of oxygen. He pulled away, and rested his forehead against mine. His eyes were still closed and he licked his lips, smiling. That was amazing, he said in a husky voice. I nodded and looked down shyly. He removed his hand from my hair and cupped my face, making me face him. My face was burning. I could feel the blush on my cheeks. Don't hide your pretty face from me, baby. Don't be shy, we will be doing that a lot now. He said, smirking. I could tell, my cheeks were a replica of tomatoes. He chuckled at my reaction and pulled me in a tight, possessive hug. I was so worried about you. From this minute, I will not let you out of my sight. His voice came out muffled. Rylan, who were those people? Why did they take me? I asked. He pulled away a little and held my waist. I guess you deserve to know everything. He said and continued to tell me about Adam, their friendship, and what happened 3 years ago, and why they kidnapped me. So, now it's all over. Yes, princess, it's all over. Me and Adam sought out our differences and are back to being friends. You don't have to worry about anything, princess, he said with a smile. Lovebirds. Dinner is ready. Nate yelled from the other side of the door. When did they leave? Rylan asked, to no one in particular. Then realization hit me in the face. They were here when I kissed Rylan. Oh God, kill me now, I hid my face in my hands and groaned. Warm hand covered my hands and pulled them off my face. What wrong? Rylan asked softly. He's so sweet. I kissed you in front of all of them. What will they think of me now? I will not be able to face any one of them for months. Rylan only laughed at my explanation and shook his head. I pouted, and he kissed me again. Just a peck. It's nothing to be embarrassed, baby, it was just a kiss, and I'm sure they will forget about it by the time dinner is done. He said, giving a charming smile. But I won't forget it, after all you took my first kiss. I looked at him with a shocked expression. Yes, it was my first kiss too, I saved it for my mate. I was fascinated by the idea of finding a mate since I was a kid, so I wanted to have my first experience with my mate. Now it was his turn to blush. I giggled, which earned a groan from him. Okay, now enough talking, let's get dinner, you didn't even have lunch, don't want you to starve now, do we, princess, he said and pulled me by my hand. We reached the dining room and the chatter immediately stopped and everyone turned their head towards us. I shifted closer to Rylan and wished that the earth would open and swallow me. Nina? What are you doing here? Rylan's words caught my attention. I looked around and sure enough there was a smiling Nina sitting on a chair. She stood up and tackled me in a hug. I'm sorry, Isa. I should have not left you. I'm so sorry, please forgive me. she said, pulling back. It's not your fault, Nina, I said with a smile. You indeed have a gem of a mate, buddy, a voice said from behind. I turned around and saw a man with dark hair and eyes, same age as Rylan. Baby, this is Adam, the one I was talking about, Rylan said. He smiled and extended his hand for me to shake. I accepted it with a smile. Nice to meet you, Serena, and sorry for the inconvenience. It's okay, I said quietly. We all took a seat at the table and served ourselves. There was mac and cheese. I took a small portion that I thought I could eat. But as I was about to finish, Rylan added a few spoonful more to my plate. I was about to question him, but he gave me a stern look and gestured for me to eat it. I pouted, but finished, with surprisingly not much effort. I flashed a victory smile to Rylan, and he patted my head, like a puppy. Everyone laughed a little, and I joined too. After dinner we all sat in the living room, talking about anything. Hey Nina, you didn't tell us how you got here? Rylan asked. I was cuddled to his side, seeking warmth. Oh, I was really worried about ISA, so I was constantly mind-linking Nate for your location, and he finally gave in, telling me you were here, so I came as soon as I could. She explained. Rylan nodded and pulled me closer to his side, kissing the top of my head. Adam came in with a plastic bag in his hand. Hey, I guess we should watch some movies. While having ice cream, he exclaimed, and I squealed excitedly at the mention of ice cream. So is that a yes? He looked around and everyone nodded. We debated on which movie should be watched. I didn't know many movies, so I just kept quiet. Everyone eventually decided on watching Conjuring. It was a horror movie, much to my horror. I hate horror movies, but Rylan got really excited about the movie, so for his sake, I agreed. Throughout the movie, my head was buried in Rylan's chest. I only had a few sneak peeks here and there. I couldn't even eat my ice cream myself, my hands were too busy covering my eyes. Rylan had to feed me ice cream, but he was not complaining. Somewhere in the middle of the movie I had an urge to go to the bathroom. I was too scared. I had no other option, so I poked Rylan on the cheek. He was so absorbed in the movie, that he didn't notice. I poked him again, and again, until his attention was on me. Finally. What's the matter, princess? You need anything? He asked. I shook my head. I need to use the bathroom. I said, it's right at the end of the hall when you exit the living room, princess. He said. I know, but I'm scared, I said in a quiet whisper. He raised his eyebrows and tried to hide his smile, but failed with a big F. Okay, I'll come along then. He said and got off the couch and held my hand as he led me to the bathroom. He switched on the light and motioned for me to go in. You go in, baby, I'll be here. Trusting him, I went in and did my business. I finished and washed my hands. Rylan, I called. No answer. Rylan, I called again, this time there was shuffling out of the door. Rylan, is that you? My voice cracked at the end. I hesitantly opened the door. And sighed in relief. Rylan was leaning on the wall, and his eyes closed, he was sleeping. I shook his shoulder, a little too harshly. Rylan. His eyes snap opened and looked around for danger. Then his eyes landed on me. He smiled apologetically. Sorry, I didn't know, sleep took over. He rubbed the back of his neck and chuckled nervously. It's okay, but don't do that next time. I was so scared. I said with a small pout. He kissed my pout and held my hands. Sorry, it won't happen again, he said. We went back to the living room, but halted when we saw the scene in front of us. Nate sleeping in the couch with his mouth open. But that's not all. Nina, and Adam. Lips locked. What is going on? Rylan's voice boomed through the house. Oh God! Chapter 21. Rylan. What is going on? I was completely horrified by the view in front of me. My sister and my friend. This is unacceptable. Both of them sprang apart. Both breathing heavily, lips swollen and hair messy. If I were any more late, I don't know what they would have done. Ugh. I don't even wanna think about that. I felt a soft, small hand on my arms and I relaxed a little. I am still furious. If you don't want me to kill someone tonight, then explain what is going on. I yelled. Both had same terrified expression. Adam opened his mouth to say something, but Nina beat him to it. And the words that came out left me speechless. He's my mate Rylan. We are each other's second chance, like you are ISA's. I don't know what to reply to that. Nina found her mate on her birthday, 6 months from today. When she turned 16. Just like Adam, she found her mate quite early. He was the chef of the pack house. He was a good match for her, though they were completely opposite, they balanced each other. But one day the rogues had attacked, and he died, saving Nina. It had taken her quite some time to be back to her normal self again, but she did. And now this. I didn't say anything and sat on a couch, my face emotionless. I felt Serena sit next to me, I pulled her on my lap and inhaled her scent. Honey and cinnamon. I calmed down a bit. I finally came to my senses. When I asked Adam's side today, I came to the Howler's pack to meet the Alpha, he needed our help for something. For some odd reason, he told me to come from the forest side. When I reached, I felt my wolf howl and a sense of happiness bloomed inside me. Then I saw Nina coming from inside the house and I knew she was my second chance. And I was the one she was speaking to. When you saw us. He finished and Nina continued her part. I was really restless that morning, so I thought of going for a run. Then I saw Adam coming from the forest, and like he described, I knew he was my second chance. He tried to convince me to accept him, but I was not sure, after all you and Adam don't get along. So I told him I'll think about it and left. I closed my eyes and sighed. I looked at Serena. Just looking at her face calms me down. She ran her fingers through my hair and I groaned. Okay then, what can I do when you two were destined to be together? Now that I have found my mate too, I know how it feels. Both of them had a smile on their faces. Then I turned to Adam. But if you hurt my baby sister in any way, I will cause some serious damage. He chuckled nervously and nodded. Then my eyes landed on a dead-looking Nate. Seriously, this guy sleeps like a log. Right now the world could be ending and he would still be found sleeping. I shook my head and chuckled. Continue what you were doing. We are going to sleep, I said and picked up Serena in my arms. She squealed but didn't protest. I still remember my room, in the manor. 2nd floor, 3rd room. I opened the door and as expected, the room was the way I left it. Plain blue walls, white furniture, and a golden frame on top of my bed. I always wanted to have a big picture of me and my mate together, so I brought the frame. I can finally fill it. It won't be empty anymore. I closed the door with my leg and placed Serena on her feet. She looked around the room and smiled. I guess she liked the room. Is this your room? She asked and I nodded. It's really beautiful. There was a knock on the door and I opened it while Serena made herself comfortable on the bed. Nina was standing there smiling. What you want? I asked and raised an eyebrow. She made a sour face and stuck her tongue out. I came here to give you some of Adam's pajamas. And also I brought Isa some clothes before coming here. She huffed and handed me 2 small bags before turning on her heels. Who is it? Serena asked. I turned around and closed the door. Nina brought some clothes for you before coming here, and some of Adam's clothes for me. I gave her the bag and she smiled. I kissed her forehead and told her to change in the bathroom and I will change here. I stripped off and wore Adam's clothes. They were quite comfortable. Then Serena came out of the bathroom. In short shorts and crop top. She looked heavenly. She sniffed the air a little and frowned. Then she looked at me and her lips formed into an "Oh, what happened, baby? Any problem?" I asked. She just came to me and took hold of the t-shirt I'm wearing and sniffed it. I frowned. What is she doing? Baby, what are you doing? I asked her. Her nose scrunched up in an adorable manner and I almost awed. Whose clothes are these? She asked, ignoring my questions. Adam, I replied. She just shook her head and said, don't wear it. I doesn't smell like you. God, kill me now. She's so cute and innocent. Your wish is my command, Your Highness. I did a little bow and she giggled. I decided to sleep in my boxers tonight, since my Serena doesn't want me to wear Adam's clothes. I stripped off to my boxers and saw Serena covering her eyes. Oh God, what am I gonna do with her? I mentally chuckled. I slowly removed her hand from her eyes and kissed her cheeks. Baby, if you feel uncomfortable, then tell me. I will sleep in my clothes then. Okay. It's no problem at all. I said and she shook her head. No, it's okay. It's just that I've never seen a man so ND before. She said quietly, looking at my face, as if avoiding to look down. Okay then, let's go to sleep, okay? We leave tomorrow morning. We can have breakfast on the way to your pack. I said and helped her under the covers. It looked as if she's drowning in the covers. I kissed her nose lightly and laid down on the other side. Switching off the lamps, I turned around to face Serena and wrapped an arm around her small waist. Rylan. I mumbled, my eyes closed. Where are we? She asked. I opened my eyes and felt her turn around to face me. I brushed some hair off her face. This is the mansion our parents gave to me, Adam and Nate, when we were young. It is like out headquarters. We hanged out here, most of the time of our lives we spent here. I explained and felt her nod. Good night, Rylan. A smile formed on my lips and I kissed her forehead once again. Good night, baby. Sweet dreams. Chapter 22. Serena, a loud thud woke me up, followed by a string of curses. I tried to ignore it and snuggled into the soft fabric of the covers. After a few minutes, a soft hand brushed my cheeks, sending sparks through my body. Rylan. His large hand caressed my cheeks lightly and brushed the hair from my face. I leaned against his touch and enjoyed the feeling. Baby, wake up. It's time to leave. His soft voice made me sigh in content. How can he be called cruel and ruthless? He is such a sweet mate. I mumbled some words, that definitely made no sense to him, or even me. I heard him chuckle and kiss my eyes. Wake up, princess. Everyone left already. We are already late. At those words my eyes flutter open. The first thing I see, is the bright smile on his face. He leans in and gives my L.P.S. a short and sweet kiss, that makes my cheek burn. It will take some time to get used to the kissing. What do you mean everyone left? It's so early, I said and got off the bed to use the bathroom. It's already noon, baby. You slept in? He called behind me. I froze. Never in my life have I slept in. Once I did, and I learned my lesson to never do it again. I look at him. Why didn't you wake me up? I asked and stood in front of him. He was sitting on the edge of the bed, fully dressed. He wrapped his hands around my waist and pulled me between his legs. You looked so peaceful, while sleeping. I didn't want to wake you up, so I told everyone to leave and we will leave later, in my car. He said, shrugging his shoulders. Now get ready, it's a 3-hour drive. They must have reached the pack house. I nodded and kissed his head and ran to the bathroom. I heard him laugh and let out a giggle of my own. I did my business and brushed my teeth. I came out and saw a dress laid on the bed for me. I pick it up, along with some underclothes from the bag and get into the shower. After getting ready I go downstairs. Rylan is sitting on the dining table with a plate full of food in front of him, untouched. He sensed me coming and looked at me. His eyes schemed me, from head to toe, and opened his arms for me. I didn't hesitate before going to him and leaned into his touch. He adjusted me on Bis' lap to make me comfortable and we both ate in silence. A comfortable silence. After out lunch I packed whatever things were left here and there and met Rylan at the garage. We got into his car and drove off. During the drive he held my hand with his one hand and gripped the wheel with other. I turned on the radio. Love Me Like You Do started playing. I liked the song, even if I never heard it before. I dozed off some time later, and woke up when the car came to a stop, or more like jerked. I looked at Rylan with a frown on my face. He gave me a smile and got out of the car. I looked outside the window and realized that we were in middle of a gravel path. It was unknown area. There was no sign of civilization. Only a few trees and flat land. I could make out by the color of the sky that it will be dark in a few hours. We have been on the road for so long. There was smoke coming out of the bonnet of the car. I could barely see Rylan opening it and examining what was the problem. After a few minutes he closed the bonnet and came in. There were black patches on his face. I took out the box of tissue from the dashboard and wiped the patches. He gave me a sheepish look. What's the problem? I asked. The car broke down, and I have no idea how to fix it. He sighed and closed his eyes. You tried to call someone? Maybe he cut me off by saying I tried but my phone has no network in it. And also, the battery is low. We could walk, maybe we will reach the pack house before dark. About that, actually, I have no idea where we are. I was following the GPS. But somewhere in the middle of the drive it stopped working. I gave him a "Are you serious" look and he just chuckled nervously. What are we gonna do now? I said, at the verge of having a panic attack. Rylan sensed my uneasiness and pulled me on his lap. He stroked my hair with his large hand and hugged me tightly. Don't worry, baby, we will stay the night in the car, and in the morning we can start walking and maybe find some help. I guess I have some packed sandwiches in the bag, on the back seat. We can have that and sleep for now. I'm here, don't worry. His words calmed me down a little. We ate the sandwiches and cleared the back seat to sleep in. We kept all our bags in the front. Rylan laid down on the back seat, leaving no room for me. I stood there staring at him. He noticed me standing there and smiled. Suddenly he pulled my hand, which caused me to fall, on top of him. He closed the door with his foot and adjusted me on top of him. My head resting on his chest and his legs tangled in mine. His left hand was under his head and the other hand was wrapped around me tightly. Almost possessively. He kissed my head and closed his eyes. "Good night, Rylan. Good night, princess." Dream of me that earned him a smack on his chest. He just chuckled and held me more tightly. The warmth radiating from him was comforting. And before I know it I was deep asleep. Chapter 23. Rylan's. The first thing I noticed when I woke up in the morning, was the soreness in my back. Sleeping in the back seat of a car and having your mate sleep on top of you, is not a piece of cake. I shifted slightly to make myself comfortable, but that didn't go as planned. Instead it woke up Sira. She shifted and raised her head, that was shoved between my neck and shoulder. I smiled at her, not wanting her to see him in pain. "Good morning, baby. Did you dream of me, as I told you to?" She gave me a bright smile in return, but it soon turned into a frown when she sensed my discomfort. She got off me and helped me sit up. She eyed me with concern. She grabbed my shoulder and turned me around, so I was back facing her. She pressed her soft hands on my back, the pain decreasing with every touch. Her hands were magical. I needed it. An unconscious gr0an escaped my mouth. She continued to massage my shoulders for a few minutes. "Baby, I'm feeling much better now." "Thank you," I said, giving her a bright smile, which she returned. I grabbed her hands and kissed each of her fingers and both the palms. "It's the least I could do. You had to sleep uncomfortably, so that I would have a nice sleep." So I cut her off. "Did you have a nice sleep, Sira?" "Yes, very," she said brightly. "Then it was totally worth it." I leaned to kiss her, but she moved her head to the side, which made me kiss her cheek. I pulled back and gr0aned. Sensing my frustration, she only giggled, which were music to my ears. I did my best to suppress the smile threatening to form on my L.P.S. "What? Can't a wolf get his good morning kiss now?" I asked and glared playfully. "Morning breath," she said and shook her head, covering her mouth with her hands. I grabbed her hand and pried them from her mouth, giving her a quick peck. I searched for a bottle of water. As soon as I found it, I gave it to Sira. She got out of the car and rinsed her mouth at the side of the road. I stretched my hands and looked around. I could only see flat land ahead. I have to think of something and fast. Sira reached over and handed me the half-full bottle and I washed my mouth. In hopes of fixing it, I checked the car again. It was a hopeless case. "Why did you buy such a useless car, you stupid oaf?" Dom said in mocking manner. "How would I know all this would happen?" I shot back, "Do anything, mate is not happy." His words were true though. Sira was scared, but didn't he show it? "Sira, I guess we have to abandon the car and move ahead." "We can get help," I said. She nodded and smiled at me. "Wolf form or human?" I asked her. Even though I don't want her to tire herself by walking, it's her choice. "Human," she said with a bright smile, and I raised an eyebrow. "I just want to." "Okay, if that's what you want," I sighed and grabbed the necessary stuff from the car in one hand and Sira's hand in another. We walked in silence, slowly making our way through the isolated path. But the presence of my mate held me together. Pulling her closer, I slipped my hand around her waist and kissed her cute button nose. After walking for 3 hours, Sira was regretting her decision now. She was too worn out to even stand straight. "We are walking for 3 hours straight. At first she was really excited for the adventure we were gonna experience, and now she was sitting in the middle of the road, with her legs stretched out, gr0aning lightly. I chuckled and sat down beside her. I fished a water bottle from the bag. Opening the cap, I raised the bottle to Sierra's L.P.S. She took a greedy sip and sighed in content. I placed her legs on my lap and massaged them gently. Rylan, what are you doing? Sierra said, trying to take her legs off my lap. Trying to make my mate's pain go away, as she did to mine a few hours ago, I said, referring to this morning. She kept on protesting for some time, but gave in eventually. After I felt content with my work, I mentally patted my back, when I saw Sierra back on her feet, bouncing like a rabbit. It was getting sunny. The sun was full on blaring, and we were sweating like crazy. I removed my shirt and slinged it on my shoulder. But I couldn't feel better, how could I? My mate was sweating in front of me, and I couldn't do anything. I slipped the shirt back on. I cannot let my mate suffer all alone. I will suffer too. After an hour we came upon a mutual decision, to sit beneath a tree and eat something. After finding a fairly shady tree, we sat down. I searched through the bag and retrieved a plastic lunch box filled with cookies. Why is there a box of cookies in the bag? I gave Sierra a look and silent asked if she knew anything about the cookies. Nina made some cookies the day before we left. She asked me to keep it in my bag, because hers was full. I guess everything happens for a reason. She explained and took the box from my hand and handed me a cookie. I shook my head, but ate it anyway. After we had enough, we packed the rest and started to walk again. The heat was not that bad now, as it was a few hours ago. The sky was a shade of golden now, indicating that it was evening and soon it will be completely dark. And as if God finally took pity on us, I spotted a small light a few miles away. It looked like a pub from here, you know where big and scary guys go? Yeah, that. My suspicions were cleared when we reached the source of light. It was a pub. The loud music could be heard from outside and I didn't want to take Sierra inside. But I can't leave her outside either. The chances of finding a phone were slim, but still there. I took hold of Sierra's hand, holding it firmly in mine. I turned to face her. Don't let go, I said sternly, and she nodded. I opened the wooden door and cringed at the strong smell of cheap alcohol. Sierra stiffened beside me and I gave her hand a little squeeze for reassurance. I pushed past the huge bodies of drunk people and made it to the small counter where a scrawny and bald man was serving alcohol. He eyed Sierra and I instinctively pushed her behind me and held her wrist lightly. What would you like to have? He said and smiled, showing off his disgusting yellow teeth. We would like to use a phone, please. I said, being as civil as possible, with these people looking at my mate as if she were a piece of meat. Ah, yes, it's in the back side. Just through the door. He pointed to an old beaten-up tin door. Thank you, I said and placed a hand on Sierra's back, going through the door. I located the old telephone in the corner of the small room. I placed the holder between my ear and shoulder and pressed the keys. It started to ring. Hello. Nate's voice came from another side. I sighed in relief. Nate. I said happily. I swear I was never this happy to hear his voice in my whole entire life. Rylan. Where are you guys? We thought you guys eloped to Vegas to get married. We were worried. He exclaimed. I rolled my eyes, only he could get these stupid ideas. Nate, don't worry, we didn't elope anywhere. My GPS stopped working and we got lost. My phone has a little battery remaining, track down my number and come to pick us up. We are near a small, freaky pub. I said. On it. He said and hung up. Is he coming? Sierra asked and I smiled and nodded. She sighed in relief. We left the pub and found a tree, comfortable enough to sit under, waiting for Nate. It was already dark and I could tell, Sierra was tired and sleepy from all the walking. I laid her head on my lap and slowly stroked her hair. She slowly fell asleep. I kissed her forehead. Sleep didn't come to me. I was on high alert, for any type of danger lurking around, or any sign of Nate. It's gonna be a long night. Chapter 24. Serena. The sunlight shines in my eyes as soon as I open them. I blink a couple of times to adjust to the light. I rubbed my eyes and found that I'm in the back seat of a car. I raised my head and realized my head was on Ryland's lap. I sighed in relief. At least he was with me. He had his eyes closed and mouth slightly parted. He was in deep sleep. I know he didn't sleep all night. He was on high alert. I got off his lap and sat next to him. I peeked at the driver's seat and saw that Nate was driving. He saw me in the rear view mirror and gave a smile. Good morning, Luna. Did you sleep well? He asked. Good morning to you too. And I slept well, thank you. When did you find us? I asked. Oh, a couple hours ago. You guys managed to have a detour, you had to head towards west, but you went the opposite direction. Now it will take more 2 hours before we reach your pack house. He explained. Was Rylan awake the whole time? When did he sleep? I asked while stroking Rylan's hair lightly. He fell asleep as soon as he made you sleep on his lap. He said he was exhausted. He replied. I feel bad now. He was awake all night and I was sleeping peacefully. He must be really tired. I sat on the edge of the seat and pulled his head on my lap. It was time to return the favor. His hands wrapped around my waist and he snuggled onto my stomach. I kept stroking his hair, to make him feel at ease. Nate passed me a bottle of water and a wrapped chicken sandwich, which I took gratefully. I looked out the window and sighed. So much happened in just a couple of days. Adam, Nina's second chance, us getting lost. I'm exhausted. Physically and mentally. I pulled Rylan closer to me and rested my head on the seat. After a few minutes Rylan's stirring caught my attention. I looked at him and caught him staring at me with a smile. Good morning, baby, he said in his deep, husky voice. He leaned forward and pecked my LPS, before resting his head on my lap again. Good morning. How are you feeling? Good. Then he turned his head towards Nate. How long till we reach? 1.5 hours more. He replied. Rylan gr0aned and snuggled closer to me again. I rubbed his shoulders and feel him relax under me. You are so amazing, baby. I blush at the compliment. No one has complimented me before. His words make me feel weird things in my tummy. So are you, I said back. He looks at me and smiles, then he kisses my tummy, making it all tingly and close his eyes. Oh God! What is he doing to me? He always makes me feel like this. His smile ignites a strange spark in my body, and don't let me start on the kisses. It feels like a freaking zoo in my tummy. I take a deep breath and compose myself. Before I know it, we reach the familiar driveway of my pack. Rylan? Wake up, we arrived. I said in his ears, but he showed no sign of waking up. I tried again and again, but to no avail. Try calling him honey. Might wake up. Nate said and got off the driver's seat and to get the bags. I thought about it. Let's give it a try. It won't hurt to call him that. If he won't wake up, then he will not remember me calling him that. And if he does, then mission accomplished. Rylan? Honey, wake up, we are back. I said softly and kissed his L.P.S. I pulled away, but he held my neck from behind and placed my L.P.S. back on his. That sneaky devil! He kissed me softly, as if I will break. I kissed him back and closed my eyes, feeling that tingling in my tummy. Hey! Not in my car, you two! Nate yelled from outside. I quickly let go and Rylan pushed himself off me. He rubbed his face and licked his L.P.S., as if seeking for an aftertaste. I blushed and opened the door. I straighten my dress and get out. Rylan following behind me. Literally behind me. Nina is sitting on the couch in the living room, watching SpongeBob SquarePants. I shake my head and giggle. It catches her attention and she spots me staring. She smiles and throws herself at me. If it wasn't for Rylan behind me, I would have fallen. Where were you two? You know how worried we were. How could you get lost when you have a GPS in your car? She exclaimed when she broke the hug. I don't know how, but the GPS stopped working and I took a few wrong turns and we went in the opposite direction, then my car broke down, resulting in us getting more lost. Rylan replied to her and wrapped his hands around my waist, hugging me from behind. Alpha Rylan, Serena, we are glad you're back. Safely I turned back and saw Alpha Mason and Luna Morgana approaching. Yeah, we are glad too, Rylan replied, rolling his eyes. Yeah, well, lunch will be served in 15 minutes, hope to see you there, Luna Morgana said and left. Oh God, just being in their presence gives me a headache. Nina exclaimed and all of us chuckled. Rylan and I cleaned up and went downstairs, for a much-needed lunch. Especially for Rylan. He didn't eat anything since morning. We entered the dining hall, and much to my surprise, there were 2 empty seats at the table. Rylan sat at his regular seat and I went to sit on the empty one at the other end of the table, but he had other plans. He held me by my waist and dropped me on his lap, then continued eating as if nothing happened. Alpha Rylan, there is an empty seat where Serena can sit. You don't have to trouble yourself. Morgana said, touching his hands, giving him a concerned look. Rylan was a little too quick to remove his hands from her hold, and dropped a glass of juice on her. She gasped and looked at Rylan, eyes widened. The juice left a horrible shade of orange on her white dress. Oh, I'm so sorry, Luna Morgana, he said, not looking least bit sorry. And it is my absolute pleasure to have my gorgeous mate sitting on my lap. It's no trouble, he said with a smile in the end, mocking her. The silence of the room was broken when a warrior came in running. Alpha, Luna, we are under attack. And all broke loose. Chapter 25. Rylan. Alpha, Luna, we are under attack. As soon as those words came out of his mouth, everyone stood up and started panicking. Seriously, these people need a break. We Alphas are trained to always be prepared for before the war, during the war, and the after results of the war. And here are they, hopping like kangaroos. I was seated in my seat, having my lunch peacefully. But then I felt Sierra shaking. Why is she shaking? Because apparently they are under attack right now, she's scared. You buffalo! Stop eating! Dom yelled in my head. Yet I knew that. And I'm not a buffalo. I shout back. Most of the time we talk, we only yelling at each other. I tighten my hold on Sierra and turn her around to face me. Her expression was of pure horror and panic. That did it. I banged my hand on the table, sending all the plates and whatever flying around the room, and everyone froze. I cupped Sierra's cheeks and gave her nose a small kiss. I looked around, everyone was looking at me with weird expressions. Anger, confusion, frustration, fright, and even joy. "The warrior that passed the message if attack, come forward," I ordered. The man came forward, he stood in front of me and bowed. "Speak. What happened?" "Exactly what you saw," I said. "I saw around 3 unknown and unusual wolves running in our direction and cross our boundary." He said. "And you assumed they were attacking. How have you been trained? Just because some wolves run into your territory does not mean they mean harm." I sneer. "These pathetic wolves." But what? "Because of all this my mate is terrified," I said, and look at Sierra. Her big hazel eyes stared back at me. I smiled at her and held her to my chest, cradling her gently. "Don't be scared, princess, I'm here, no one will hurt you. You trust me on this, right?" She nodded her head and I felt my wolf grinning in joy that our mate trusts us. I stand up and lay Sierra on her feet. I held her hand and went to the main door. As the boundary came into view, I saw 3 familiar wolves just outside the boundary line, panting. When they saw me, they stood up and bowed their heads. They are more powerful and larger than other wolves, because they have alpha blood in them. "Go behind a tree and put some clothes on." I mind-linked them. They obeyed and went to change. They all came back wearing basketball shorts and jerseys. The twin boys, Jared and Jacob, came back with their friend Michael. All grinning like fools. "Alpha Mason, I want you to grant them permission to enter your territory," I said, more like commanded. He nodded his head and gave them permission. They immediately ran to me and hugged me tightly. All of them broke into a fit of laughter. And I cracked a smile. They got off and they greeted Nate and Nina. They were gone for a painfully long time, but now they were back. And I was beyond happy. "So what are you rabbits doing here?" I always called them rabbit, because when they were young, they would bounce, more than they would walk. All 3 of them. "Oh Rylan, quit calling us than that now. You very well know we are not rabbits now," Jared said. "What are you doing here?" I asked again. Then I noticed how Sierra was not with me. I spun around to look for her and found her standing near Nina. I sighed in relief and opened my arms for her so that I can hold her. She took small steps but came to me. I held her in my arms and looked at the 3 musketeers. Their eyebrows shot up, mouth hanging open, and an absolute shocked expression covering their faces. I held my urge to laugh at their faces. "Close your mouth," I told them, and they shut their mouth. "You have a mate," they said dramatically. "Why is my life filled with crazy people? Of course leaving my Sierra. She is not crazy." "Yeah, is that so hard to believe?" I rolled my eyes. "Yes. They are impossible. Come in, we can discuss all that stuff inside," Morgana said. I tugged at Sierra's hand and we started making our way to the house. On the way, Sierra suddenly lost balance. I caught her just in time. "What happened?" I asked, concerned. "I think I twisted my ankle." "It's nothing," she waved it off, but I wasn't having any. I picked her up bridal style and her arms wrapped around my neck. I pecked her lips and entered the house. Everyone was seated in the living room, waiting for us. It looks like the 3 made themselves comfortable, as they are sprawled upon 2 big couches. "Would you explain why they are in my land, Alpha?" Mason asked, eyeing them. "Hey! Don't look at us like that," Michael said in an offended tone. They are here to meet me, I said and plopped down on an empty couch, with Sira in my lap. And why? Mason asked. I didn't bother answer that. I placed Sira besides me and pulled her leg on my lap, examining it. Looking for any kind of injury. Because we didn't see him for past 4 years, Jared answered. Oh God, there is a small bruise forming. And why now suddenly? Mason asked. He has a lot of questions. Because we wanted to. All three yelled in his face. I paid only half attention though. There was also swelling on her ankle. It can get bad, if not treated. I picked her up again. Rylan. What are you doing? Sira asked. You managed to sprain your pretty leg, Sira. We have to make it better. I guess there is a spray in our room for it, I said, making my way upstairs. I heard footsteps thundering behind us and I knew all three of them were following us. I placed her on the bed and brought the spray out. I carefully sprayed it on her ankle and covered it with a bandage. I looked at her with a triumphant smile, but she was not looking at me. She was looking at the door. I followed her gaze and saw Jared, Jacob, and Michael standing at the door, arms crossed. Who are they, Rylan? Sira asked in a small voice. I sat beside her and kissed her forehead. Baby, they are my brothers Jared and Jacob, the twins, and their best friend Michael. Chapter 26. Serena. How many siblings does he have that I don't know about? First Nina, and now the twins. He doesn't tell me anything about his family. Jared, Jacob, and Michael enter the room with big smiles. Hi, beautiful mate of my brother Jared, or Jacob says, holding his hand out for me to shake. I reply with a small hi and shake his hand. By the way, I'm Jared, and that serious one is Jacob. He's always serious. His tone changes from funny to serious, in matter of seconds. Hi, I give Jacob a small wave. He smiled back and gave a wave. That hunk, there is Michael, he's our guardian angel. Saves us from all, Jared said and wiped a non-existing tear from his cheek. So dramatic. But I think they are fun. Baby, why don't you go spend some time with Nina and Nate? I'll get to you as soon as I finish talking to them, yet. I nod my head and he kissed me. Bye. I wave at all of them and they wave back. I skip downstairs to meet Nate and Nina. I see them plopped down on the floor with loads of junk food thrown on their laps and some shoved in their mouths. Hey guys, what are you doing? I ask and walk closer to them, eyeing their mess. Hey ISA, did Rylan finally release you from his hold? Finally we can spend some time now. Come join us. We are thinking on watching Twilight series. Seriously, that movie is shit. Nina throws her hands in the air and huffs. I slid next to Nina on the floor, and Nate doesn't waste a second before dumping a heap of food on my lap. I look at him and he just blinks at me, giving an innocent look. I wave him off. Hey you! Can you put the DVD in that TV of yours? Thank you, Nina yells at a random girl. The girl has no option but to do as she says. And so we start watching and eating. 4 hours later. The Twilight sucks. Seriously. I would prefer a werewolf over a dead man, even if I'm half asleep. Why would Sira choose Edward? 2 hours later, great. Now she is dead and turns into a vampire too. What about Jacob? He is so lonely, poor wolf. 1/2 hour later, I can't take it anymore. I'm done. Guys, I don't think I can watch it anymore. I finally said, with a huff. Thank God. Finally. Both of them say at the same time. I look at them and they have bored and frustrated looks painted on their faces. We were waiting for you to say those words, so we could end this drama. Nate says, throwing a handful of popcorn in his mouth. Yup. Nina leans against the couch, behind her and rubs her flat tummy. Where is Adam? I didn't see him when he came back. I asked. Oh, he went back to his pack. I literally had to kick him out, he wouldn't budge. I said I will join their pack once I'm done here. She said. Then my thoughts drift to Rylan. Where is he? I think I should check on him. Maybe he got himself in trouble? Not that I can do anything about it. But still. I go upstairs and enter our room. The view in front of me is so beautiful, I almost awed. All the boys are sprawled on the king-size bed. Half laying on each other. Game remote controls thrown in different directions. All looking so cute. Bromance. Two voices say behind me. I turn around and see Nina and Nate looking at them with baby faces. I giggle, but cover my mouth with my hand. Let's take some pictures. Nate yelled, taking out his phone. He snapped pictures from different angles. While taking a picture from the side of the bed and slipped on something, he fell on them. Me and Nina froze. All the boys were groaning from Nate's weight. Michael opened his eyes and immediately threw Nate off the bed, to the floor. The others soon woke up too. Rylan saw me and smiled. I smiled back. The boys got off each other and stood up. We all looked at each other and broke into a fit of laughter. Oh, okay, brother, I think we should get going, Mom needs us by morning, so we should leave now, Jared said, and the other two nodded. Ah, but why so soon? I didn't even get to know you guys, I said and pouted. Don't worry, little bird, we will meet you soon, and when we do, we will get to know each other really good. Jacob said and dropped his hand on my shoulder. Rylan frowned and not so subtly removed his hand from my shoulder and pulled me to his side. Mine all started laughing at that. Oh God, he is so possessive, but I love possessive. I love him. We walk them to the door and see them off. When they reach out of sight, we bid each other good night and went to our rooms. Since we all had loads of junk food, we decided to skip dinner, anyway it was too late for dinner. It was nearly midnight. Rylan took off his shirt, giving me a full view of his right pack. I just shamelessly ogle at his heavenly body. What can I say, my mate sure is an eye candy, only for me though. Wait. Where did that come from? What is happening to me? Why am I thinking like this? It's the mate thing, Sierra. You will be more attracted to him. And as confident and comfortable you will get, the more the mate bond will affect your thoughts, Kaya said. So I'm a bad girl now? I've always thought of having a mate, but never thought what I will do, when I find him. Till now he has been nothing but sweet and caring. And I know he will not change in the future. I think I can finally accept the mate bond and accept him. I gave him a chance. A chance to gain my trust, respect, and love. He has gained all of them, just in a matter of weeks. He even stayed here with me. Because of him, I could take a stand against my bullies. He gave me his love and treated me as if I was the center of his world. What more could a girl possibly dream of? He made my dreams come true. I realized I was standing at the same place and staring at him, when he stood in front of me, a smirk plastered on his face. You done checking me out, baby? He said, wiggling his eyebrows. I blushed hard and avoided eye contact, thinking of an excuse. Actually, don't be shy, baby, it's all yours. He gestured to his body that made my cheeks burn like lava. I giggled and ran to the bathroom, to change. I could hear his laughing all the way here. He seemed to be really amused by this. I'll give him a taste of his own medicine. I slipped on my short shorts, which are really short by the way, and a crop top, which shows half of my stomach, and is a spaghetti strap. I had been reluctant to buy them, saying it won't be of any use, since I won't be wearing them. But they came in hand now. I will have to thank Nina later. I walk out of the bathroom and see Rylan already in bed, scrolling mindlessly on his phone. I clear my throat a little, not trying to seem obvious. I don't pay attention to him and just get to my side of bed and slid under the covers, making sure to shake my hips a little. I turned the lamp off and laid down. I finally looked at him and saw him staring at me with eyebrows raised and mouth slightly open. I brought my hand up to his face and waved it. He blinked and took a couple of deep breaths. He turned the lamp on his side and laid down, facing me. I faced the other side. He placed his hand on my waist and pulled me to him. My back touching his rock-hard chest. I could feel his hot breath on my skin. He was really close. What was that, baby? Were you trying to tease me? He whispered in my ear, sending shivers through my body. Was it working? I asked in the same whispering tone. He started to place small feather kisses down my neck to my shoulder. I almost made a sound, but held it in. You have no idea what you do to me, baby. You are so clueless to your actions. Just a smile of yours increases my heart rate. I am so lucky to have you in my life. As my mate, his words send a wave of warmth through my body and my heart skips a beat. How can a man love someone so much? Is that even possible? I couldn't ask for a better mate. He is more than best. His lips continue their assault on my neck and he grabs my shoulder, laying me flat on my back. He hovers over me, still kissing and sucking on my neck. His lips leave my neck and capture my lips. The kiss is soft and passionate. He plops himself on his elbows, to keep his weight off me. His right hand slides to my hip and he gives it a little squeeze. A moan escaped my mouth, encouraging him. He bites my bottom lip and I open my mouth for him. His lips slips into my mouth and start exploring. My hands find their way to his hair. I weave my hands through his soft, thick hair and pull him closer. After a few minutes we pull away, breathing heavily, in desperate need of oxygen. But he continues to pepper kisses on my jaw, neck, and throat. He pulled away and looked at me through hooded eyes. His smile matching mine. That was amazing, baby. He finally says and drops beside me. Yet I breath out, then we should do it more often, don't you think? I laugh at that. Why were your brothers here so suddenly? I asked softly while his one hand slipped into my hair and another to my waist, drawing patterns. They came back yesterday from New Orleans. They had gone for 4 years for some wolf training. So when they got back, they came here to meet me and received the biggest shock of their lives, that I got my mate, he explains and ducks his head in between my neck and shoulder. I love you, Rylan, I blurt out and turn the other side. His hands on my body go stiff for a moment. I knew it was a bad decision. I should have never told him. Then I was turned around roughly and again Rylan hovering above me. His big, warm hands caress my cheeks as he looks deep in my eyes. I have waited so long to hear those words from you, baby. I love you too. I love you so much. Then he kissed me as if there was no tomorrow. I love this man, Wolf. Chapter 27. Rylan. Oh my God, was last night a dream? That was the first thought that crossed my mind when I opened my eyes. She told me that she loves me. It seems like all my dreams came true with those 3 words. And not to forget the hot making out. It felt like heaven. Just thinking about it makes me hard, down there. Good morning Rylan, her voice is so angelic. She turns over to face me and smile. I smile back and kiss her little button nose. So the sleeping beauty is finally awake. Good morning baby, she nodded her head and says, what are you thinking so much about? Just about how lucky I am to be with you. What did I ever do to deserve a wonderful soul like you, as my mate? She blushed and locked our hands together. I should be thankful Rylan. I don't know what I would have done without you. I was really heartbroken. I lost all hope of being happy. At a point I even tried to end my life, but Kaya didn't let me. I guess she knew you would come. My knight in shining armor. She ducked her head on my shoulder and I rubbed her arm soothingly. I'm really sorry you had to through all that. It's my duty to keep you safe and protected, but I didn't. But I will make it better. I will shower you with so much love, that you will forget everything that happened in the past. Don't get me wrong, love, but a part of me is glad that Mason rejected you. Now you can be mine forever, only mine. Mine to keep, mine to love. With those words said, I tightened my grip on her and closed my eyes, savoring the moment. I'm glad too, her voice extremely quiet and cracking at the end. I loosened my grip and pulled away a little, just so I could see her cute little face, now covered with tears. I quickly wiped them off with my hands and cupped her cheeks in my hand. What? I'm glad that Mason rejected me. No one could possibly love me, as much as you do Rylan. You loved me when I was covered in blood and bruises, I am weak and you are still here. Anyone else would have left me, like Mason did, but you were there, still are. I love you. Her words felt like a pinch in my heart. My Sira is so fragile, how could anyone think of hurting her? But again, I witnessed it, so I can believe it. But what I can't believe is that what have I done to avenge her? Nothing. Those people hurt her and I was waiting for a perfect moment. What a pathetic mate I am. Don't say that Sira. You are beautiful, now and back then. I love you, I was in love with you even before I met you. I always dreamed of a mate like you. Sweet, caring, selfless, kind, shy. I can't describe my love for you. My love has no extent, no boundaries. Then I kiss her with everything in me, trying to prove my love to her. Knock knock. A knock on the door made me groan in frustration. Sira pulled away, giving me one last peck. She hopped off the bed and ran into the bathroom. I slipped on my shirt and was ready to give the person on the other side a little peace of mind. I opened the door and was surprised to see a young girl, around 6 to 7, standing there with a tray of food in her hands. The tray was way too big for her little hands. I took the tray from her and looked at her with a small smile. What are you doing here? I asked softly. She didn't look up and kept her gaze at the floor. She was shifting on her legs and her hands were now locked behind her back. You were late for breakfast, Alpha Rylan, so Luna Morgana told me deliver food to your room. I'm sorry if I'm late, Alpha. She said in a quiet voice, which reminded me of Serena when I first spoke to her. Okay, you're not late. What is your name and why did you bring the food? You should have told someone else. Pretty girl. I crouched down to her level and lift her face up with my fingers. She is such a cute little thing. My name is Joey. They told me if I don't do it, they will give me to the monsters. If I tell them that I will not do anything, my mommy hits me. I'm scared. Tears start to form in her big blue eyes. I heard a gasp behind me. Sira stood there with a hand on her mouth, keeping herself from sobbing, her tears falling freely down her cheeks. She jogs up to the door and hugs Joey. I know what she feels. She sees herself in the little girl. These people are monsters. They don't have any sense of humanity left inside them. She is no older than 7. She is a kid. It's her age to play and have fun, not cleaning other people's. Sierra pulls away from Joey and gives a small smile. Joey smiles back, a cute girlish smile. Joey, did you have your breakfast? I asked and she shook her head no. They don't let me have breakfast till everyone is done with theirs. She said. I pull Sierra up and pick Joey by her arms. I balance Joey on my hips and give the tray to Sierra. Let's go and have some breakfast then, shall we? I sit her on the bed and place the tray full of food in front of her. I and Sierra sit opposite to her. Come on, eat up Joey. Sierra encourages her and she picks up a small pineapple cube from the bowl. I sigh and pick up a fork and knife. I cut the chocolate chip pancake into a small bit size and bring it to her mouth. She stares at me with her wide eyes. Open up, eat I said and she opened her mouth. I fed her a couple more times before she started eating by herself. Soon enough we were full. Joey is giggling at something Sierra said in her ear while I stretch my hands and legs. Another knock on the door grabs our attention and I have to open it, since the girls seem to be in their own land. Laughing and giggling. I open the door and see a smirking Nate. I raise an eyebrow and silently ask what? I seriously don't need any interruption today. I just want to spend some time with my princess, is that too much to ask? Your mom called and my knees almost gave out. Chapter 28. Rylan's your mom called. Why did she call? If she knew I found my mate and didn't tell her, she will throw a big fit. You see, my mom is a typical mother. She is really protective of her children and their mates. She loves everyone, she is not capable of hating anyone. So I'm sure she will love Sierra. What I'm worried about, is me. She won't let me off the hook, and I know Dad will join her. He is the puppet of her hands. You don't say. You turn into a lovesick puppy when it comes to our Sierra. Dom said in my head. Same goes for you too. Dom never denied it. I sighed and looked back. Sierra and Joey were cuddled on the bed. They must be tired after all the fun they had. That brought a smile to my face. But I have things to take care of. I have to talk to my mother first. Oh God, help me. I tell Nate to go, and I will handle things. I write a quick note for Sierra and exit the bedroom. I don't want to disturb her sleep. I go to the rooftop and call her. Ryan Rylan Jameson Owen. What is going on? You found your mate and didn't tell me? Mom shouted. Mom. I'm sorry I could not tell you right away. The situation was not good and we had some problems here, that's why I had to stay here for a while, but I promise I will bring her there soon. What is her name? She asked in a much calmer tone. I sighed. Serena, a smile forming on my lips just thinking about her. Oh, such a sweet name. What is she like? I could feel her excitement from here. Yes Mom, that's what you said when I heard her name. And she is so cute. She is very sweet, caring, kind and basically everything it takes to be a perfect mate and Luna. She's the best. I said proudly. My serum makes me proud and I will show her off to everyone. Just bring her here, okay? I can't wait to meet her. For the time being, at least send a picture of her, she requested. I know my mom is really happy. Of course Mom. I'll send you her picture, tell me if you like it. I send her the prettiest picture of Sierra. I took this picture sneakily. She was outside in the garden, surrounded by flowers and the sun shining on her beautiful face. She looks like a goddess. I waited for a minute before calling again. OMG. She is so pretty. You are one lucky man, Demi. I groaned at the old nickname. Mom. Don't call me that. And I know she's pretty, very pretty, I said, and I knew I had a wide smile on my face. Rylan, your dad wants to speak to you, and you better bring her here this weekend. For you know what she said, the last part in a whisper. It was my parents' anniversary on Saturday and she is hosting a surprise party for Dad. I will ask her mom, but she is not comfortable around crowds. And if she doesn't want to come, then I won't force her. She's been through a lot, I explained. Okay, but please at least try, I want to meet my future daughter-in-law. Now I'm giving the phone to your dad, she said. Hello Rylan, how are you son? My dad's happy voice always made me smile. I'm perfect, Dad, how are you? I asked and paced around the rooftop. I want to check on Sira. Good. I heard you found your mate. And I saw the picture you sent, she is really pretty. I'm proud of you son. Keep her happy. He said and I nodded, then I realized he couldn't see me, so I gave him a yes. Okay then, we will talk to you later, hope to see you soon son. Take care of yourself and Serena. Bye. I hung up and made my way back to the bedroom. I opened the door and saw Sira sitting on the bed, staring at the walls. Baby? What are you doing? And where is Joey? I asked and closed the door. Behind me. She looked at me and smiled slightly. Not a bright smile. I frowned and sat beside her. She left, saying she has work. I couldn't make her stay. Baby, is something wrong? Tell me. Don't hide anything, Rylan, why is everyone so bad here? First they mistreated me, now Joey. Then someone else. This will keep going. I don't like it, she said in a sad voice. Baby, don't worry, I will set everything in its place. Everything will be all right. No one will suffer. I promise, I said and hugged her. I shifted her on my lap and buried my head in her hair. Her head rested on my shoulder and I felt her nod. I trust you, Rylan. I love you. My heart soared at her words and my frown was replaced by a big smile. I love you too, so much. I give her a small kiss and pull away from the hug. Baby, can I ask you something? Anything, Rylan. Baby, there is a party at my pack this weekend and my parents want you to come. It's their anniversary. If you don't feel comfortable you can refuse, no one will force you, I said, looking at her face. She seemed to be thinking about it. Okay, I'll go. But will you be with me the entire time? I don't want to be alone, she said with a smile. Of course, baby, I'll not leave you for a second. I'm so happy you agreed, my parents will be overjoyed that you said yes. I said and kissed her cheeks. And before I could say anything else there was a knock. What? I asked. Alpha, it's me. Nate. Open the door. I'm sure he does that on purpose. Come on, he always arrives at the wrong time. Come in, it's open. Nate strutted in. With an evil smile on his face. Now what? Alpha, I wish to speak to you. Alone. He said. Okay, Sira said and got off my lap. I gave her a last kiss and she left. Much to my dismay. This better be good, Nate, or I swear I will break all your bones. Rylan, you know what is today? He asked, avoiding my statement. Today is February 7, 2018. Wrong. Today is Rose Day. He said. Rose Day. He was looking at me as if I was an alien. Rose Day. Valentine's week. Then it clicked. It's Valentine's week. Oh God, How could I forget? Oh God! What do I do now? I totally forgot. Nate, help me, I said. I have always wished to celebrate Valentine's with my mate, and when the chance finally arrived, I forgot. Don't worry, you're my best friend, I will help you. Then we spend an hour surfing through the internet about ideas. It was absolutely useless. Then I figured out that if I want to make Sierra feel special, I should do something original. And I know exactly what to do. Nate, I know what to do, I said with a smirk. And what might that be? He asked, narrowing his eyes suspiciously. I leaned closer and whispered in his ear. After the narration of the plan, I saw a smile forming on his lips. He nodded and bro-hugged me. She will be flattered, Rylan. This is so going to work. I rubbed my hands together. Now time to prepare for the plan ahead. Serena. I left Rylan and Nate to talk and went to the kitchen. I love cooking, so let's make something. Gathering whatever was needed, I started to cook. As I was stirring some vegetables, I felt a presence behind me. So, what did Rylan get you? A voice said behind me. I turned around to face Morgan. I decided to ignore her. I'm talking to you. Hello. She tried again. I finally graced her with my attention. Rylan said that I was a princess, so I should behave like one. Not to take poop from anyone. But now she will not let me do my work unless she is done. What? I asked. She raised an eyebrow and scowled. I'm your Luna, you can't speak to me like that. She said, and for a second I was afraid of what she might do, then I remembered, even I'm a Luna. Not of this pack, but the Nightfall pack, Rylan's pack, she should respect me too. That goes for you too, Luna Morgana, even I am a Luna, Luna of Nightfall pack. You will address me with respect too. I said in a confident tone. I won't let them step over me, not anymore. I will make Rylan proud to call me his mate. So what did Rylan get you? She asked. You know today is Rose Day, start of Valentine week. Guys get their girls roses and make them feel special. She said and giggled, or I think she attempted to giggle. No, he didn't get me anything, he doesn't need to, our relationship is based on love, it's not materialistic. I said, she just shrugged and smirked. Mason got me dozens of roses, all different colors, isn't that romantic? He is so cute. He is the best mate ever. She said, and before I could reply, she left. I know what she is doing, she wants me to feel jealous. Jealous that she has Mason, and that he showers her with gifts. But that it won't work. I don't need Mason now, I don't want him. I have a much better mate, Rylan is everything I could ask for, and he is the best gift. I continued to cook, not thinking too much about her. Strong arms wrapped around my waist and I knew it was Rylan. He buried his face in my neck and inhaled. Then he kissed my cheek and rested his chin on my shoulder. I'm so proud of you. I heard your conversation with Morgana. You are so confident now, and it's a very good thing. And you are right, you are the Luna of the Nightfall pack, you are to be respected, and those who don't, they will have another thing coming, he said. I leaned into his touch and closed my eyes. And I think we should go out, change of scenery will lift your mood. You know, just a small picnic outdoors. How does that sound? I liked the idea. Yes, that will be good, I said, and he leaned in for a kiss, but before our lips could meet, a clashing sound made us jump apart. I looked around and saw a innocent-looking Nate standing over a broken plate. He looked up and blinked. Then walked away. So be ready at 5, we will spend some time without interruption and have dinner. Okay, I nodded and he kissed my head. Love you baby, love you too. I was ready. I was wearing a simple pink dress. I tied my hair in a messy bun, and I was done. Rylan had some business to take care of, so we didn't see each other the whole time. I came out of the bathroom once I was ready and saw Rylan patiently waiting for me. He saw me approaching and smiled. His eyes roamed over my body. You look like a doll, baby, so cute. He came and hugged me. His scent was so intoxicating. Heavenly, like fresh rain. He was wearing dark jeans and red button-down shirt. He managed to look like a runway model even in simple shirt and jeans. How did I get so lucky? I don't know. You look good. I complimented. He took my hand in his and led the way. Thanks. He said and smiled. We walked out, his hand securely wrapped around my waist. He led me to his car and opened the passenger door for me. He helped me in and buckled the seatbelt. He sat on the driver's seat and started driving. Where are we going? I asked curiously. Not telling, it's a surprise, he said with an amused smile gracing his lips. I became excited. This will be my first surprise. I never received surprises from anyone. I squealed and mumbled an okay which only made him laugh. An hour later. I hate surprises. We are on the road for an hour now and Rylan won't tell me where we are going. My patience is wearing off now and I really want to know where we are going. We are nearly there, baby, Rylan said and I huffed. It's been like this for so long and now I'm getting hungry. Okay, we are here, Rylan announced and I instantly perked up. I tried to look outside, but Rylan didn't let me. Wait baby, first we need to tie this around your pretty eyes, he said and revealed a long piece of clothing. A blindfold. I pouted, but closed my eyes anyway. I felt him tie the soft cloth around my head. I felt his lips on mine, in a quick kiss and I smiled. I felt him get out of the car and soon enough he was at my side. He took my hand in his and guided me through the unknown path. I clung to him for my dear life, the air around me was a bit cold, and I shivered. Rylan wrapped his arm around me and I leaned in his warm embrace. After walking for 5 minutes we finally stopped. Rylan pulled the blindfold off my eyes and I blinked a few times. I looked in front of me and gasped. We were in a big garden, with lanterns hanging on the branches of trees. There was a path lined with flowers leading to a gazebo. We were in a big garden, with lanterns hanging on the branches of trees. There was a path lined with flowers leading to a gazebo. The place was filled with white roses, my favorite. I clasped my hand over my mouth and my eyes widened. I turned around to face Rylan, but found nothing. I looked down and gasped again. Rylan was on his knees holding a bouquet of red roses in his hands with a charming smile, that made me all mushy inside. I swear I melted at that sight, faster than an ice. Oh Rylan, I honestly don't know what to say. I am too much in shock to say anything. Sierra, happy Rose Day. I wanted to do something you would like, but this the only idea that crossed my mind. I hope you like. Before he could continue his nervous ramble I laughed myself on him. I wrapped my arms tightly around his neck and his hands firmly on my back. I love it. You are the best. I love you, I said, my voice muffing slightly. He chuckled softly and pulled away. He stood up, pulling me with him and handed me the bouquet. I gladly accepted them and inhaled the fresh scent of the roses. The surprise is not yet over, sweetheart, I looked at him. There is more? What? There is more. Yup. Now turn around. I turned my back to him as he said. I could feel his presence behind me. He held a hand over my eyes, silently tell me to close them. I did. I felt something cold on my neck. I opened my eyes and looked down to my chest, only to gasp, again. A small ruby pendant was wrapped around my neck in a golden chain. It was simple and elegant, I loved it. Tears stung my eyes and I sniffed. Rylan held me in his arms. He lifted my face and I saw a glimpse of worry in his beautiful dark eyes. Baby, if you don't like it, you don't have to. This time I cut him off with a kiss. The kiss was anything but gentle. It was rough and needy. My hands found its way to his hair and tugged on it, earning a groan from him. Our lips moving in sin, his lips molded mine as if made for them. I moaned when his tongue swept on my lower lip, asking for entry. I gladly parted my lips and his tongue slipped in my mouth, exploring every inch of it. After a few minutes he pulled away and rested his forehead on mine. I was breathing heavily, like he was. A smile broke on his lips, then he chuckled. What's so funny? I said, still struggling to breathe. Nothing, just really happy. Oh, best day ever, he said, and I nodded in agreement. After our little moment, we had dinner at the gazebo. I was again surprised when he said that he had prepared the dinner himself. He went to a restaurant that he owned and cooked there, so that I won't get suspicious. After dinner we walked around the garden, talking about anything and everything. We realized it was pretty late and we should get going. He drove while I just looked out of the window, twirling the pendant on my neck. When did you get this? I asked the day we went to the mall. When I was gone to get lunch I saw this pendant in a jewelry store and I thought it would look good on you. But I never got the chance to give it to you. He said with a sigh. I rested my hand on top of his free hand and rubbed my thumb over his knuckles. He smiled at me and I smiled back. Today was definitely the best day of my life. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.